What's something you stopped caring about as you got older? 1. Impressing people who don't actually matter. When I was younger, especially in high school and early college, I cared way too much about what people thought of me. Every comment, every look, every tiny reaction from others felt like some kind of judgment about who I was. I remember spending 20 minutes choosing an outfit just to go to the grocery store, not because I wanted to look good, but because I didn't want someone from school thinking I looked lazy or weird. I replayed conversations in my head for hours, sometimes days, overanalyzing things like, did I say that awkwardly? Did they think I was being rude? Should I have laughed at that joke? I shaped my personality around the people I wanted to impress. I changed my music taste based on whoever I was hanging out with. I went to events I hated just to be included. And worst of all, I stayed friends with people who didn't value me at all, simply because I didn't want to seem difficult or antisocial. But sometime around 27 or 28, I had this realization. Most people aren't thinking about you, not in a rude way, just in a human way. Everyone is too busy worrying about their own insecurities. Once that clicked, something in me let go. I started wearing what made me comfortable, not what made me impressive. I stopped explaining myself constantly. I stopped overthinking texts. I started spending time with people I genuinely liked instead of people I wanted to like me. Here's the surprising part. Once I stopped trying to impress everyone, the right people naturally stuck around. The ones who mattered stayed. The ones who didn't just faded. And I didn't miss them. Growing older didn't make me colder. It made me more free. And honestly, peace is better than popularity. 2. Winning every argument. When I was younger, I thought being right was the most important thing in the world. I'd argue about politics, movie endings, science trivia, even random facts no one cared about. If someone said something inaccurate, I had to correct them. If someone misunderstood me, I had to clarify. If someone accused me of something I didn't do, I needed to prove them wrong. It wasn't even about the topic. It was about being right, about winning. It was exhausting. But the older I got, the more I saw how many relationships were weakened or ruined because someone, usually me, insisted on having the final word. Arguments that should have lasted 5 minutes stretched into hours. I drained myself emotionally trying to convince people who didn't even want to be convinced. Then I watched a friend lose his marriage because he always had to be right. It didn't matter if his wife was upset. He cared more about facts and logic than how she felt. That's when something shifted in me. Now I value peace over pride. I'd rather let a small disagreement pass than let it become a wedge between me and someone I love. These days, when someone says something I disagree with, I just nod and say, maybe you're right. Not sarcastically, genuinely. Being right feels good for a moment. Being at peace feels good forever. 3. Keeping up with everyone else. In my early 20s, I constantly compared myself to my friends who bought a house first, who traveled more, who had a better job, who got married or had kids. Every time someone announced something exciting, part of me felt happy for them. But another part whispered, why aren't you there yet? Social media made it worse. I'd scroll through pictures of people I barely talked to and feel behind in life. They were buying houses while I was struggling to pay rent. They had big friend groups while mine was shrinking. They graduated with honors while I was just trying to pass. Then one day, while talking to a coworker who seemed to have everything together, wife, kids, house, good salary, he told me something that shocked me. I'm jealous of you. You have freedom. I feel stuck. It hit me like a truck. Everyone feels behind in some way. Everyone looks at someone else and thinks, I wish I had that. But we're all running different races. No two people have the same starting line. No two people have the same obstacles. No two timelines are comparable. Now I celebrate my wins, even the small ones. I stopped racing people who weren't even aware there was a race. My life is on my timeline, not theirs. For the perfect body. When I was younger, my self-esteem was tied directly to how I looked. I stressed about every pound, every blemish, every bad angle in photos. I'd skip meals, exercise obsessively, and constantly compare myself to filters and edited pictures online. But as I got older, I realized something. The people who care about you genuinely don't care about the shape of your body. They care about your laugh, your kindness, your presence. One day, my grandmother showed me an old photo of herself in her 20s. She pointed at it and said, "I wish I knew how beautiful I was back then." She looked radiant. But what struck me was how much pressure she carried at the time, how much she worried about things that don't matter now. That moment changed me. I started working out for health, not aesthetics. I ate food I loved instead of food that only looked good in photos. I stopped caring about how I looked to strangers because strangers don't matter. Confidence ages better than beauty anyway. 5. Hiding my hobbies. When I was younger, I had anything that made me seem uncool. Anime? Keep it quiet. Video games? Only talk about them with certain people. Building Lego sets? Never talk about it publicly. Now, I'm an adult with my own money, my own space, and zero shame. I buy Lego sets like I'm making up for lost childhood. I discuss fantasy novels like literature. I watch animated movies with the same excitement as people watching Oscar contenders. I realize joy matters more than image. Life's too short to pretend you don't love what you love. 6. Small talk and forced socializing. In my early 20s, I forced myself to be social. Going to bars when I didn't want to, making small talk at parties, pretending to be extroverted just to fit in. Now, if the conversation doesn't interest me, I politely excuse myself. If I don't feel like going out, I don't. If silence happens, I don't scramble to fill it. I let it exist. The older I get, the more I crave real conversations instead of surface-level chatter. One deep connection means more than 20 shallow interactions. 7. Social media validation. I used to post everything online. Trips, meals, outfits, even moments that should have been private. I'd refresh constantly to check likes, comments, engagement. When a post didn't perform well, I felt embarrassed. I'd delete it or overthink it. But then I took a trip without posting a single thing. No updates, no stories, no carefully posed photos. And it felt peaceful, alive. Now I barely post at all. My happiest moments are unshared, unfiltered, unperformed. Social media is a highlight reel, and I prefer the full movie. Those were some of the experiences Redditors have ever shared. What's something you stopped caring about as you got older? Drop your story in the comments. Maybe it'll be in the next video.